Yeah. So, yeah, very sad what's happening to so many from these people. It's very sad. But like, what's the point, right? What's the goal? That's what I want to know. All these conversations about where we all came from, like the out of Africa theory, okay? Did American Indian people come from Siberia? Did we cross the Bering Strait? Well, who's to say that it wasn't the other way around? Who's to say that it wasn't people from here that crossed the Bering Strait to go to Siberia? Right? I mean, who knows? All of it's interesting. Like, if we're all from Africa, we all originated from Africa, we were all black at one time, and then somehow we became white and we became Asian as we traveled about for whatever reason. Okay, fascinating stuff, but who cares? In the end, what does that do for any of us today? Because right now, we're dealing with a ton of racism. Can I even say that on TikTok? It's ridiculous that I can't. I don't know if I can or not. Racism for educational purposes, TikTok. That's something we should talk about because it's not going to magically disappear on its own. And it exists. So even though race is a social imaginary construct, racism is unfortunately very real and it's still here. So we've still got to deal with it because, again, it is not going to magically disappear on its own. We have to talk about it. And this whole argument about where we came from or what color we are, why we're the color we are, yada, yada, yada. I don't care. It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. I am curious. I'm interested to hear all the theories and stuff. But I don't know that any of us will ever really know for sure. And I don't really care because none of that does any good for me today. And all the hate coming our way right now, not helping. Not helping. And all the people inserting themselves in American Indian spaces to, talk down to us and tell us that we're not who we are and make fun of us because we're mixed now and yada yada. None of that is helping either. Cherokee people come in all colors. There are black Cherokees. Ooh. There are white Cherokees too. Ooh. There's Latino Cherokees, okay? Cherokees come in all sizes, shapes, and colors. We don't discriminate. Do you? If you do, why is that? Hurt people hurt people. Sad, but true. So what do? How do we get past it? What's the suggestion? Anybody have a suggestion?
Educate.
Yep, educate.
But when you educate, you're going to be a target, especially if you're right.
Yeah, and Jet says, when you educate, you're going to be a target, especially if you're right. Yep. So, people like FlexSkywalker running around, talking about the Cherokee people when he is not one of us. Is that okay? Would we be okay if anybody else did it to somebody else, to a different group? Ask yourself. And Darth says you can't educate an expert. That's true too.
That's that Dunning-Kruger effect.
Dunning-Kruger effect, yep. People who think they know everything already. And what were we saying earlier? That it's not a mental health issue. It's a what? It's not mental health. It's we were talking about it with Nancy.
Personality disorder versus mental health. Personality disorder versus mental health. Yeah, and that's kind of like a fine line.
Yeah, there's a fine line there, but we were talking about that.
A personality disorder is like narcissism and things like that.
Yeah, like a personality disorder would be like narcissism. And so I don't know if we're just arguing with people who are narcissists, we're probably not going to get very far, right? But I was doing an anti-racism thing one day, and somebody came up to me afterwards because there were several blatant racists in the group, and they were like, "Oh my God, how can you keep doing this? Why do you bother?" And I'm like, because I'm not trying to fix the racists in the room. I'm trying to put them on notice that they can be as racist as they want to be, but their behavior is not going to be tolerated in the workplace, right? So you can at least do that much. We're not going to be able to fix the pretendians, but we can put them on notice that their behavior is no longer going to be tolerated because we don't have to, right? So, all these people running around being rude and crude and vulgar and hateful, all the Vanta Blacks and Joshes and yucky womans of the world, whatever. The work of Taaf continues. We will expose the frauds. People can make up their own minds. But they should be ashamed of themselves. All these pretendian frauds should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. And if they're too arrogant to be ashamed of themselves, then that's okay. But other people are going to know that they're frauds. It's like they recruited a bunch of schizophrenics and gave them a script. That's exactly what it feels like, Darth. That's very well put. That is very well put. They recruited a bunch of schizophrenics and gave them a script. We got to remember that one. And quote Darth. Quoth Darth. Darth, we're going to use that. Oh my goodness. Does anybody want to come up? This was intended to be an after party for the debate on YouTube. And I was grateful too to Port City Vibes that he was nice enough to use his YouTube to host that, because it was good. And the professor was excellent. As usual, he was excellent. He had all his ducks in a row, and it was really great. It was really great. But then there's, all these people out there like Yucky Woman, Notorious BGP, such a know-it-all, and so many others. What was it that one that I think it was, who was it? The H guy from tonight. What did I say his name was? Kikte.
YUN.
I forget. Anyway, that guy, his last name was Kikte, who was running his mouth tonight, talking about he can't follow us because we're this and we're that, and he was saying, or no, it was Yucky Woman who was saying that we're against the border tribes, but they don't know anything about Taaf or what we do. They don't even know that we were hosting a group of Nyanyu people, quote unquote Otomi people from Mexico all week. So crazy. And Darth said, I tried to ask Blackwater how far off he is because they call him Professor, and got banned. Wow, they banned you for that? How crazy. That's ridiculous, but typical. Yeah, they muted me early on. I wasn't able to say anything. And imagine that, this is what gets me. A whole debate about Cherokee people, and the Cherokee people are not allowed to say anything. Right? How's that? Like, how should we feel about that? Imagine if it was somebody else. Imagine if it was some other group, where a group of X people were talking about a group of Y people. Would that be cool? Would that be considered cool? Way out of your freaking lane? Talking about somebody else? As if as if you're one of us? Yeah.
Everyone feels entitled to our culture because they had a story.
Yeah, that's well put. Jet said everybody feels entitled to our culture because they have some kind of a myth in their family, some story that they're one of us, and it's just gross. We're just so tired of it. So tired of it. So I imagine that there's a bunch of people in the hallway that are too chicken shit to come in, and then I imagine that there's a bunch of people at the after party because not a lot of American Indian people saw the debate tonight, and the few who did, I tried to say that there was going to be a Taaf after party to talk about it, and I was muted, of course. So they don't even know we're over here talking about it. And Darth says, yep, I know he's got degrees, might be just a teaching course and dissertation away. Are you talking about Blackwater? Yeah, he is a university professor somewhere, I think. Like, he really is a professor. He's awesome. Yeah, and what was the other thing we were going to talk about tonight? I forget what it was. It was Yucky Woman, Notorious Big Girl Panties,
Oh my god.
Beefy,
Please.
Earthqueefs, and yeah.
My glasses.
That was the other thing is this kid was quoting Dwight York, I think, as well. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I heard him quoting Dwight York. That's another nutball who's behind bars from being a professor. Yeah, I don't know. I think he already is a professor. I'll ask him. I want to say he really is already a professor at a university. I'm pretty sure.
Well, it's
but I'll ask.
Skipper Gilligan.
Mm-hmm. Aye. Yeah, so all these wannabes and pretendians out there dissing Taaf or me, I think the reason why is pretty clear. And not really fazed by it. I do find it funny, though. I can't help but find it funny. Sorry about it, guys, but yeah. If you're trying to get my goat, that's probably not it. It provides me a good laugh, but that's about it. Did you want to say something? Did you lose your phone? Feel free to jump in there. And feel free to come up if you want to come up and hang out with us. It's totally cool. Even debaters come up if they're not like that guy who came up earlier. God, common sense. How rude and ignorant. He asked some funny quote. What did he ask about where are the defunct people? I can't remember how he asked that, but we were like, in the ground. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Pine Tree. I was called a Fatendian. I didn't even want to debate the person. I had to walk off laughing. Yeah, right. Because it's always a wannabe who does that, right? So stupid. Yeah. But again, I really wonder what the goal of all this is, right? What's the goal for these folks? Like, do they really think that 574 tribes of American Indian people are just going to believe them? And thank you. Yeah, I love you. Thank you. Yeah, we do always get picked on. I don't know what the deal is. Everybody either wants to be us or they want to pick on us, right?
Yeah.
It's one or the other. You want to be us or pick on us.
It's like royalty. You guys got princesses.
Right? I just got called a princess earlier.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, I just got called a princess. By Josh, so go figure. You know who Josh is?
I probably do.
He's the infamous pseudo on TikTok who runs around claiming to be Indian. He's claimed about 15 different tribes so far, and he keeps keeps swearing that he's going to join one, but he still hasn't. Right? Jets was joking earlier that, wow, he's descended from 15 tribes and he can't even join one.
Nobody wants him.
Nobody wants him. Poor baby. Poor baby. So yeah, we were just talking about how they had a debate tonight between Blackwater and a guy named FlexSkywalker.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah, it was on Port City Vibes YouTube channel. And poor thing, I mean, Flex is actually, I think, a sweet kid. He seems respectful, but then I don't know, because Micah was in here earlier and she said, no, don't be fooled, because she has seen him turn fast and be extremely disrespectful. So we've got our guard up now, but he was spouting all kinds of horrible nonsense from debunked, proven frauds. And it was just embarrassing. It was painful to watch, but he didn't even know enough to be embarrassed, right? He thought he was spitting truth, but oh dear, it was pretty bad. And Blackwater ate him for lunch. Yeah,
Good.
you can finish him. Yeah, so it was crazy. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. I was actually listening on a live today, and I was like, I didn't want to jump in, but the one lady she was I don't know what, she was African American, but she was pretty much just said Cherokee doesn't exist. They're made up. I about come out of my skin. I thought, no, I'm not going to jump on that live. I'm stay away from it, but I was livid. Just like, oh.
So we're totally invisible now, huh?
Yeah.
The G side worked. Wow. Nice to know we don't even exist anymore, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's why we're being attacked.
Yeah, and we're just constantly under attack. I don't know. It's pretty disheartening. I mean, and because all of us, though, here we are, all of us, just minding our own business when along come all these pseudos and other pretendians.
Yeah.
Not just the pseudos, but all kinds of pretendians just trying to, they either want to be us or they want to hate us. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. It's like, it's the weirdest thing. And, I went up against them in several lives, and I'm just like, now I'm known as an anti-black. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, no.
Me too.
It's like, whatever, so I'm not going to advocate for, for your community anymore, because, okay.
Yeah. It's sad, right?
I need to come with you.
So I've just said, you know what, leave us alone. Mind your own business. We've already been, oppressed and beat up by the YT people. Now you guys want to come after us when we've advocated for you guys for all these years?
I know, right? It's sad.
So what's up with that?
Yeah, it's really sad. It's really sad. And of course, I'm still going to advocate for the black community. We're not being daunted by this. We are not anti-black. We are anti-racist. We do want to fight for anti-racism, and we're not going to allow this to discourage us.
Right. Yeah, on this app, I know who I'm good friends with. I know who respects me, and I know who I respect, and I'll just stay with them. There's some good ones out there that I know I can trust. So
yeah, and I don't blame you, because it's really daunting and disheartening. Very much so.
Everyone's trauma bonding.
That's good. Jet says everybody's trauma bonding. I think that's true.
And we have people.
And then there's the people we love to hate. Just yeah. But yeah, I don't want to hate anybody. But they make it really hard, right? It's like it's like they want us to hate them, and no, I don't want to hate anybody. But
yeah, they're just lost souls. So.
Yeah, I was literally minding my own business when I became aware of this hot mess a couple of years ago, and it's like, what? There's a group of people saying what? It's like the Twilight Zone. It's preposterous. Who would believe this nonsense? I mean, if you went up to any group of people and said, by the way, you're not really who you think you are. By the way, we were here before you, yada, yada. I mean, who would believe it? It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's shocking, actually. Excuse me. Hang on. Cat. Anyway, I kind of unfollowed them because they showed their colors towards me. They were just, I guess up to that point where I'll let them take care of their own. And they just literally tore these two ladies apart. I was just like, whoa. Because the two ladies were just denying, that they were from Africa and, that they're indigenous. And they're like, nope, you're not. And, I listened to them for a while, and they're pretty good. But Anyway, it's kind of interesting to listen to them.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's rough with the whole, when it starts to get hateful. I mean, we were saying earlier, just imagine what we could do if we were all working together.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I kept trying to say. Is, we're supposed to be working together on these issues, and yet, the select few of you are causing this big divide. Why? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, makes no sense to me. None. It's counterproductive and divisive, and I don't get it. I just don't get it. Never will. But there we are. I mean, we're not going to just sit silently and let people stomp all over us either. I don't care who they are.
Oh, absolutely.
And I do not want to be anti-black. I understand that having been raised in this country and being, having whitey skin, which I do, I understand that I've got that privilege and I've got that responsibility to make reparations, and I've got a lot of work to do. I get it. But that doesn't mean that I'm just going to let people stomp all over my Cherokee necks either. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And if they think I should, they can kiss my butt. But we can multitask as well.